How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, no bad, man. Just fucking getting cracking, just back at it. Um, it's
Yeah,
been a bit
good
of
to
a
see
long
you got the
time.
podcast back up and running.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm fucking trying, man. I'm trying to rearrange. It's a weird one. I don't know. It's just sometimes you just feel like, things are there, keep it going. The Donny movie's just about finished, so I can create a deeper network with a podcast. You know what I mean? It's just,
Hmm.
it's been challenging, man, but fucking,
Oh, it
ah,
is, mate. It is.
never
Yeah,
mind. How you doing anyway?
yeah, same old shit. Can't complain.
Yeah, keeping busy.
Nobody would listen anyway. Just turning the speaker off. There we go. Yeah, always busy, mate. Always busy. I like to stay busy.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
no, I
yeah,
see
man.
that. Well, that's the thing, man. We'll just get fucking stuck straight into it, man. I mean, it's like
Mm-hmm.
obviously I've been on the podcast a couple of times. I was actually looking over it, and I was remembering when we went on and we did the conspiracy one and with the other boys,
Yes, right.
and it got cut off like halfway through.
One of the conspiracy shows.
Yeah, remember? Because obviously I was looking through it when
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
sending you
Mm-hmm.
the link over for this, and then it just fucking reminded me of like all of us getting cut off at the same time, messages getting exchanged.
Yep.
What the fuck? What's going on?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder what was going on there. They're listening to us, Connor.
I
They're
never,
listening to
never
us,
know.
bro. They're gonna
Yeah.
come for us.
All of a sudden,
Probably
they
not.
fucking the line just cuts off immediately.
It's them two again. Shit, shut them down. Yeah, things are getting crazy out there with the conspiracy shit nowadays. I mean, it's been a
Oh
while
man.
since we did a conspiracy show, but since we did one, we had the whole Epstein list released and the Epstein files and all that.
Absolute
Damn.
insanity. I mean, if you want, man, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously we'll cover you the stuff, the work that you do, and fucking like, you're extremely popular, man. Like, that's well over 1 million streams now, for
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
you're
yeah.
doing.
We don't need to talk about that shit. Conspiracy is more
No, but that's what
important,
I'm saying.
man.
But we'll come to all that. But definitely, man, that conspiracy shit popped into my mind when this has all started going off. It's like it's
hmm
unbelievable.
Damn, yeah, we should have done an episode, shouldn't we? We didn't do a fucking episode on that. But maybe we should. I'll speak to Brian and see what we can get worked out.
Yeah,
Because Billy does a similar show now, don't he? Billy Bonds is on the
yeah.
panel of High and Homegrown. Sometimes he does a conspiracy show called Live from Airstrip One,
All
which
right.
is just essentially the conspiracy stuff that we talk about, but on a completely different channel. And
Yeah.
Brian joins us for that. So maybe you should just come along and jump on that. We'll do a special Epstein files thing.
Yeah, I'd be up for that, man. Always up for talking about conspiracy shit. Even though, I mean, that's like without question the most bizarre parallel. I was talking to my son about this, about like it's like a dream world in the most negative sense. Like it's
Hmm.
disorientating all this shit. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. It's one of those where I'm not really surprised. You know what I mean? It was I don't know. We all saw it coming. We knew what was going on. We've always known that the guys at the top
Mm,
are involved in some heinous fucking shit. You know what I
mm.
mean? Because I've always thought, not always, at some point in my adult life, it came to the realization that you can't get to a certain level of fame and success without passing through a certain amount of people. These
Yeah.
guys won't let you pass to this next level unless you've done a certain thing. So they know you're going to toe the line. You know what I mean? If you don't toe the line, we're going to release the video of the pig. You know what I'm saying?
Straight on Black Mirror, explicit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Like you have to, if you want to go and sell 100 million albums, right? What you have to do is fuck the pig. And we're going to film you. And then if you ever step out of line or start saying something we don't want you to, we're going to release that video of you and the pig. Like, okay, yeah, cool. Sounds good to me. Whatever you need. I just want to sell 100 million albums.
Yeah.
I just want to win an Oscar. I just want to get a Grammy. Whatever it is. These
Mm.
people are, I don't, it might not be the case, but it could definitely be the case. Not a definite 100% no, is it? There's a small percentage chance like that is actually taking place.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
even not
mean,
a small percentage anymore. Look at the
yeah,
Diddy files.
yeah. I mean, the Epstein files. I mean, they're disorientating for a few reasons. Like, even people that are familiar with the conspiracies and fucking like the David Icke reptilian shit. I mean, he's been talking about this shit forever.
Mm-hmm.
Even people that I think there's an element of like desensitization when you're investigating it, and the
Mm-hmm.
mainstream is kind of like, nah, this isn't going on. When it punctures the mainstream, and then it floods it. The most noticeable thing that I think's going on is it's a purposeful like tactic. Like nothing floods the entire internet without the ones at the top orchestrating it. There's too many tight channels, you know. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it just makes me kind of it's almost a fearful feeling because it's like fucking hell. Like, this is really in the context of black magic and satanic ritual and all that kind of thing. There's a large element of it which is about showing the observer, what in our case the public, the thing you're doing. Like that's not
Like getting
it's
that kind of permission. Like, oh, we showed you what we were doing.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know what you mean. There's a specific word for it. What's the word for it?
yeah. I don't I can't.
If manufactured consent, is it? I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean
It's
that's
something
certainly
like
a
that.
perspective of it, definitely. I think even more on a like a more darker fucking demonic level of like there's something I don't know. It's all of these things are esoteric, obviously, but there are very real like psychological tactics applied for specific reasons. It's not just all like it's like that thing where you see what's his name, Christopher Lee, like interviews for him fucking like years ago in the like 60s and 70s and stuff like that, and he's talking with a very serious tone about that black magic's a real thing that exists that has an influence on human behavior and stuff, not just in ritualism. So I think when it's like
Mhm.
international scale, massive, it's trauma. That's the main thing. It's trauma. It's about
Yeah. Hmm.
traumatizing the public, and that because that trauma from the public gives off like a frequency or something gives off like there's something energy related to trauma that they're kind of like vampires of. That's kind of what it feels like.
Mm. I
Yeah.
wouldn't go that far, but I know some people do. I just don't go to the whole metaphysical stage of it. But
Yeah,
it's, with the whole trauma thing, definitely the brain can't function properly
yeah.
when it's suffering with trauma. It can't progress. You know, it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a thing where you have to have these basics settled. You have to have food, water, shelter settled before you can think about the next level of stuff, which is having kids and there's a hierarchy of things. You have to get these things done before you can get that thing done. Why they're keeping us all afraid and fighting for survival at the bottom. We can't think about the next level, which would be some kind of revolution or forward thinking that they don't want us to have. And who we mean by they.
Mm.
You don't really know. Nobody really knows who we mean by they. I'm not insinuating a certain group of people like because that's out there a lot nowadays, man. There's a big anti-Semitic. I know it seems like everybody just is real anti-Semitic nowadays,
No, see,
and
I
I
don't
don't
even
get
think
that
it's really
vibe.
that. See, that's
But
too categorical. The only thing I'd say the group that when we say they, is humans. Like that's the bracket that I use. It's like humans. It's not a fucking like because also power is rotational. You know, it's not like some guy sitting on a fucking seat and he's the main guy. And humans are in constant conflict of
hmm
who's trying to be
hmm
number one. You know, so you see those power forces at the top of fucking society constantly battling with each other, and then it's kind of like the breadcrumbs are what affects the rest of the public.
hmm It's crazy to think, man, but it probably is the case. I would just think that the way human beings have been over our history here, it just seems as if we're too crooked, man. Power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. Is that the
Mm.
saying?
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so
I
people are
mean,
corrupt,
what
man.
do you
What can
think?
you do?
Like, what you saying?
Sorry,
What did you say?
what am I saying?
Yeah,
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
yeah.
So I just think that I don't know, people in power get corrupt, and the majority of people are cool, but I think it takes a certain mindset to be able to reach those levels. Plus the video of the pig. You have to have the video of the pig, plus a certain mindset, and then you'll reach those higher levels.
Hmm. I mean, do you know what, actually? That's perfect. You're talking about the chess club that you've started. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's what it's like. It's the
What are you trying to say, bro? What are you trying
no,
to
no, no,
say?
no. You know, fine. Like, no, so you should know the mechanics. That's what I'm saying. Like the notion that it's like anything other than this constant. Like nobody thinks for the next move. They think for the next 10 moves. You know, so it's kind of like that thing
Mm.
where that's what they have it in I don't know, the public spheres and stuff like that. They're not thinking about
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know what I mean? There's like they're 18 months time they're attempting to reach a specific destination then, and events that are happening over the next few weeks, months, whatever, is all about tailoring it to that
Mm-hmm.
end kind of thing. And then
Yeah.
so I don't
I
know.
mean, they're
It's
ridiculously rich. They have. They might as well not have money. They're so rich. They don't even understand the concept of it. They can have whatever the fuck they want. And there's huge groups of these people, like BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, these kind of companies that just have more money than countries have. And they have the ability to go out there and hire, quote unquote, along with a video of the pig. And we'll keep referring back to that. But along with that, they can get people who they fully control, experts, philosophers, the brightest minds in the world, and they can have them hired and be like, let's make the plan. If we wanted to reach this goal in this time, what should we do? And they're in control of the media. They're in control of the social networks. They're in control of the internet. They got control of YouTube and Google, the biggest sources of information that we have. So I don't know if you've read 1984, but that's essentially it's the Ministry of Truth. They will control what we can and can't see, and you see it with cannabis, because cannabis is a good example of it. They don't want people to see cannabis content, so they censor it. And it's the same with anything. Anything they don't want us to see, they'll censor it, and it's the same bullshit we have now with. And I won't say the word because I don't know if it's just going out on YouTube or what, and you don't want to get fucking censored if we haven't been already. But the sewer slide word, the you can't say the actual word. You've got to say words that sound like it, but it's the same thing. It's like a self-ended the subscription is another one I heard a few days ago. And it's like we're saying the same thing, just using different words because Google said that we can't use these words. Otherwise, you'll be demonetized or your channel can get shut down. And as a result, we self-censor now. And that just has a deeper impact on our psychology without us even realizing it. We can't think the way we want to think because we're even restricting the way we have to speak, and the way we think about what we're speaking is by thinking. So this shit gets restricted by these simple things that we do, and it's just it's a way of having like thought police control what we can and can't say. And you've seen it here in the UK. If you say something that somebody doesn't like, and it can be anything, if what you have posted has caused offense or distress to somebody, it's an arrestable offense nowadays. And what is that? What is an offensive statement on the internet? People can get the word finger is offensive if it's used in the right context. For example, I want to finger your mom. You know what I mean? Now that's offensive. You know what I'm saying? So the way the words are, except lands on whoever's fucking is, whoever gets offended. You have to be really careful of that. So you self-censor yourself and you try not to say these things. And it changes the thought patterns of a person, I think, when the establishment have done things like that. But I'm going off on a random tangent. Sorry about that. There you go. That's my thoughts on that shit.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one.
Sorry, did I go off on a rant for a bit there?
No, I don't remember.
What do you think about self-censorship on the internet?
Sorry?
Sorry? What was the initial point? We were talking about, I don't know, the establishment and the way they control the way things happen. Like planning things 18 months down the line and putting it into place. It's most likely that is the case, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with the film, and it shows you the fucking obey and consume and all over these things. It's hidden in plain sight, most of this.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going off on too much of a tangent here, Connor.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's an interesting one.
We should be talking about cannabis. I don't know what.
No,
is this a conspiracy episode or what?
This is an anything episode. This one, anytime. That's what this is.
Sweet.
But yeah, so I mean, what's been happening with you? Is there any decent guests on recently and stuff?
Oh, always, man. Always getting loads of. We took a break a little bit with just the interviews over the Christmas time because I just hate asking people around Christmas time to be on the show. And we've just had so many people on the show after this amount of time. Anybody who has been on the show has been on numerous times, and it's difficult to find new faces. We've been going for like 5 years and we do an interview every week. So if they haven't been on the show yet, it's because either they don't want to or we can't get in touch with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. Did you hear about Elaine Ingham dying the other day?
Who's that?
Dr. Elaine Ingham, she was, just a soil expert. She'd been in the game for like 70 years, man. She was one of the originators of the soil food web and all that kind of stuff there. She's been on the show a few times. She's real smart, man.
Right.
Knew her shit when it comes to organics and the biology of soil. Yeah, legend. But
Yeah.
she passed away just a few days ago.
I'd imagine from
So
old age.
yeah, she was pretty old.
Yeah.
And she was just massively influential to loads of people from the cannabis community and the growing community. And I realized this when she died as well. 'Cause a few days ago, maybe last week, I got an email from some company like, "Oh, I want to be on your show. Can we be on your show? I want to talk about this, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, man. These are the dates. Let's sort it out." And they're like, "Oh, sorry, we can't because you're cannabis related, and we try and stay away from it." So I felt like replying, "Well, what the fuck did you email me for then? You just sending out random emails? I mean, for somebody to send something back, it's cannabis related shit. Why do you? It's high on homegrown." But
Yeah.
I was polite about it. I was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's all right. Good luck with your company." And they've they've gone off and done their things. But Elaine Ingham wasn't cannabis related. She
Mm.
was soil related, but she was still more than happy to come on a cannabis related show, which is stigmatized in some parts of the world. And in some circles, some social circles, cannabis is stigmatized, but she
Mm.
didn't care. She was happy to come on the show and talk about cannabis. And she's been on other cannabis related podcasts as well. It's not as if she was, that kind of person who's just like, "Oh no, I'm staying away from the devil drugs and shit like that." So,
Mm. Yeah.
you just got to appreciate people who are willing to do that because cannabis is still stigmatized in so many places.
Yeah. It's tiring.
What do you? Yeah, do you have any trouble like that getting guests on? You reach out to people and they're like, "Oh no, it's cannabis. Can't talk about cannabis. Don't want to be related to that." Do you get anything like that?
Constantly. It's the same even when you're
Mm.
discussing the work that you're doing interpersonally with people in your life day to day, unless they are
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
directly related to cannabis. Most of the
Yeah,
time,
yeah, you
it's
can't tell them.
and most of the time it's indifferent, usually. But if it's no that, then it's more along the lines of looking at you side-eyed because you're doing something they regard as like eccentric.
Mm. Well, that's
Um,
where I am. I have a podcast, like you said, we've got over 1 million downloads on High and Homegrown now. You think I could tell my mom that?
yeah.
Think when I'm out with my friends, like, "Oh, Macky, what you been up to?" Obviously, they don't call me Macky because they don't know that's my online name. They know my real name. But
Mm,
Macky, what you been up to? So, "Oh, not much, same old, working for." Oh, I had Tommy Chong on my podcast this week.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
I mean,
I
that was
didn't,
the
not this
case.
week. We
That
have in the
was the case
past,
for
but
me. Like
yeah,
it's the same thing. You
been the
get
case
somebody
many
good on that
times.
week, and you're talking about it. You've got a good guest on. It's starting to get when you initially tell people about it. Most of the time, they react kind of like they humour you. But what I've noticed is that then the next day they'll come back after looking over the stuff, and they've got more of an intrigue and like a focused eye contact when
Mm-hmm.
because they're comparing you to the portfolio of fucking work you've presented online, and then they come in and they're speaking to
Mm-hmm.
the person, and you can almost see them like flicking through the fucking images in their mind when they're chatting to you of the things that you've
Mm-hmm.
provided, and it's that's when you know that it's like impactful. And there's been
Yeah.
times where there's been like it's been like a really good interview, like a really popular person, that kind of thing, and then you see that they're like people they'll kind of bring up the topic of like, "Oh, so what you've been doing recently?" And then I will then say that, and then I can see them lighting up like, "Oh, I've seen that," and then they'll start talking about it. So it's like they're preempting you. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a motivator at times when you kind of be fucking arsed, quite honestly. And you feel like it's
Oh
not going
yeah, yeah.
anywhere.
You been feeling that way recently then with your whole, because I know how much work it is to make online content, and especially when it comes to cannabis, the amount of restrictions we have to fucking jump around,
Mm,
and the hoops we have to jump through, plus we have to stay hidden. And it's not like I have any hate whatsoever for the people in States and Canada who can have shows where they've got video running and they can have businesses to help support their online work, and they can do all this cannabis stuff freely without the risk of any repercussions. I don't have any haters. They're good for them, man. But it pisses me off that we can't have that as well. And as I say, it's not their fault. It's our government's fucking fault. But I want to be able to have video. I want to be able to show off a grow. I want to be able to grow cannabis without having the fear of my door being kicked off and my children traumatized every fucking day. I think people forget that we're still in that place here in the UK. You know what I mean? We're not as free as we want to be and as we should be, like some of the other content creators. And it just holds us back so much. And some days it can really get to you. Like, fuck's sake, man. For example, with the high on homegrown shit now, it's like I'm just keeping it in cruise control right now. There's so much more I want to do, but it's like I'm at the limit of the type of content I can create with the restrictions I'm under. You know what I mean? Do you feel the same thing with your kind of content? I'm sure you do.
I mean, quite honestly, not really. The only thing I feel is
No.
you can't show grows. You can't show any
Oh
material,
yeah,
any that
because
kind
you
of stuff. You
you
can
do
show
show your
like
face on your network, don't you? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's not. That's
Yeah.
the thing. If you can, there's a massive space of navigation with something that's illegal. You can create things that are referencing it, talking about it. You know, when it comes
Hmm.
to a substance, obviously, you just have to make sure that the substance is absent because it's that's illegal. Anything
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
expressive around it, if it's unless you're promoting it in the way of like coercion, you should try to make people consume. That's inevitably also the stopping point. But for people that are interested naturally in it, there should be a place of reference, you know. And I think that's adults. That's a place of reference for
Yeah, but,
adults who,
and that's cool. And there's a difference between people who consume cannabis and people who grow cannabis, and that's the problem with me. Is that if I was just consuming cannabis, it wouldn't be a problem. I have the video on. You can't really get done for that. But growing cannabis, it's a different level of crime to consuming cannabis. So
yeah,
you have to
100%. I
keep
mean,
that
you
hidden.
could
So
make obviously content that's talking about growing it. Like the only thing you'd be able to omit
yeah, as
is
long as you don't
learning these
say, "Oh,
skills
I
from
don't
growing, that kind
grow,"
of thing.
you have to make that clear. But and even if you are growing, you have to just say, "Oh no, I don't grow." But if you're showing your face, then it's a big risk. They can still think that you are because you probably are. They might just come and kick your door off and check anyway. You know what I mean? They'll
I'm
find
fucking
weed.
shit at growing, man. I was fucking. Yeah.
Hmm. But with me, my podcast and forum specifically related to growing cannabis, it's just I've always felt the need to stay hidden just because of that, because growing is different to consuming.
Mm,
You know,
mm. Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely different from consuming. Yeah, it's,
but in the eyes of the law, especially, you know. So
yeah,
you
no,
get a
of
slap on
course.
the wrist for consuming cannabis, maybe even less than that. They just let you go nowadays. But if you're growing, you're looking at potential prison time for that. You know, and then a criminal record and something that's going to stop you from being able to do certain jobs, and you know, it's going to be a big pain. You could stand to lose your house where your children live. There's so much damage that can be caused just because you grow cannabis for personal use, and
Yeah,
then so you have to
100%.
keep it hidden as possible, and that's why I stay behind the avatar. You know, and I don't reveal who I am. That's the way
Yeah.
it has to be. And it's a shame because you can make better content when you can actually just. It's like I said with the thought police thing, restricting your thoughts. You know, you can't say these certain things, can't do these certain things. So it stops you thinking in a certain way, and that's the same thing that goes with cannabis creation here. Is because we're so restricted, and you know, I can't show my face. I won't be able to put tents up and show my plants off. You've got to make sure all your images are scrubbed before you upload anything online. Most people using a VPN. All this different shit that you have to do because you're in the UK compared to where you are in a state that's legalized in the USA. California, for example, you don't have to jump through any of these stupid fucking hoops. You're free to just go make your content, man. Of course, there's the YouTube restrictions that are in place, but we have those plus all the other legal restrictions. It's pain in the fucking ass, man, and it's tiring. It's tiring. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
Still
I wouldn't
massive
say
leaps and
tiring
bounds from
to.
last year, though. I mean, if you think about it, maybe
Oh yeah,
10
yeah.
years ago,
Well, no, maybe
you go
not
like
from
10 years
last
ago,
year.
like 10
Yeah,
years
10
ago,
years ago,
you're dealing
definitely.
with like a massive amount of fucking. So, like, obviously, cannabis is legal over here,
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff, but the amount of content that's available has increased like
Yeah, yeah.
tremendously. The amount of people that are like noticeable, like 10 years ago, we weren't doing these things. You know what I mean? So that's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's
Definitely from
definitely
the
a
10 years
direction of
ago,
the thing. But I think it's one
definitely.
of the challenges is because of the fact that it is one of those things you can't really promote yourself as a cultivator.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You could say that you're a consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of UK fucking based YouTube consumers and shit. But I think
Mm-hmm.
it's just this like it's a subjective interpersonal decision of content is a any artistic endeavor is a reflection of the person, and that's what it comes down to, and there's massive amounts of
Mm-hmm.
information presented in the product that's produced about the person. That's what it's like. Every single product is like a reflection of the person in some way. So I think
Yeah.
evolution is the main thing. Is if things are evolving, then it's in relation to other things in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's just moving from one state to the next. I think the worry is getting stagnant. I think.
Yeah. But don't you think because you say I can definitely agree, but it's much easier to make this kind of content now as it was 10 years ago. But 1 year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I think things are getting a little more difficult now because of these online speech laws that we have in the UK. I've said to people a few times that even if they legalize cannabis at this point, because I want to just be able to openly speak and say what I think without fearing repercussions, maybe I just want to stay anonymous anyway. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Because what if I do say something online that could be deemed as offensive to somebody, and then they can come and fucking cause you legal consequences for just expressing your opinion without meaning to offend anybody. You're just expressing your opinion,
Yeah.
and it's an arrestable offense sometimes in the UK if you say the wrong thing. So maybe now, compared to 2 years ago, it's more difficult than it was because you don't just have the illegality of cannabis growing, cannabis cultivation. You also have the potential illegality of saying something offensive. You know what I mean? What do you think about that?
I mean, I think being in a position where you could potentially be offensive is where free speech lives. And I think that's the main thing, is like we should always be okay with offending people.
Mm-hmm.
And like, because otherwise you're not even allowed to express yourself through thought, because you're now thinking yourself into a corner of like, I have to be cautious that my next thought doesn't produce something offensive. You're constantly in censorship. I think,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, that's maybe one point. But the main thing that pops to mind is if it makes no difference to the quality of product being produced, and if it makes no difference to the success of the product, being on camera or off camera is not important. You know, it's like if the
Mm-hmm.
thing itself is fucking popular and it's being successful and all that kind of stuff, then that formula is working. You know, for whatever reason after
Yeah,
that
I
is
think
makes
it.
a difference.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It works for some people. I think because there's a radio show, Art Bell. Midnight in the Desert with Art Bell, Ghost and Coast to Coast and shit. Great, great radio show, and he was one of the biggest radio presenters in the world. Never showed his face on camera or anything. It was before those days, but still made epic content. But it's just the difference of and some people are just going to listen to audio content. I prefer that. I prefer just audio shit because then I can do things around the house, go do shit for work, work on a project, doing a hobby. You can do all these different things while just listening. But if you're watching a video, you have to keep your eyes and your ears preoccupied. So I prefer just the audio content, but loads of people prefer video. I think the majority of people prefer video content. So I would like to be able to make better video content, but I just don't feel like I'm in the position to yet. It's like I'm holding back the fucking floodgates. As soon as we're legalized properly, when you're allowed to grow cannabis at home for personal use, yeah, man, no, then let's fucking go. Until then, it's just feel as if we have to stay restricted. Just wait for the starter gun,
Yeah.
which has already been set off for loads of people, and they're already fucking miles down the road. You know what I mean? And we're just like, come on, can we go yet? Can we go yet?
Mhm. I mean, there is still a massive amount of creative space to work on. You know, you better do a variety of videos that's like related
Mhm.
to growing without disclosing personal information about yourself. You know, because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like, you know. So I think there's always that, because of the creative process is alive. So like your brand, what you've got going, the way it's at. I mean, it's evolved up to this point constantly. It looked like I have no doubt that the very first show you did and the first upload compared to the most recent one would be two different animals. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
that's
completely. Yeah.
without a doubt. So it's like I think ensuring that evolution is always present and making sure that you're not censoring yourself in a way that you're not allowing yourself to evolve. That's probably
But
important.
that's it. I feel like we've evolved to a point where we can't really evolve any further until the restrictions are
Yeah,
lifted
but
on
that's the
us. I
thing.
mean,
So
I'm
that
sure
no
we
matter
could,
like no
but
matter what's in life, like that's like against the laws of physics, essentially, that kind of shit. Where it's
Mhm.
like because we're in a constant state of change for every single microcosm. So everything
Mhm.
else, including states of like a business or a brand or a specific fucking product condition, but like the way I like thinking about it is like you could literally change is happening in such a way that you could literally tidy up a fucking room, close the door, like tidy up to the point where it's spotless, close the door, nobody enters it for 5 years. You go back in, that room will be dirty. You know, it's like like change is just, it goes from order to chaos, chaos to order, back and forward. So I think, you know,
Yeah, but not
like
in a closed system. That's the difference. Because if nothing was able to get in or out of the room, then things would pretty much stay the same. But because of the air exchange, small particles being exchanged, things like that, it's because it's not a closed system that things change. But being here in the UK, it is a closed system. There's too much interference restricting us, so we can't go any further than a certain point. And I think that's the deal that they just trying to stop us from going any further than we can right now.
thing is
But
that's the thing. Even
and
inside a closed system, it's still change still is present. It's just present on the outside.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
We're
so
not
I think
part of
that's,
it.
you know, I think the notion of being able to escape change, I think, is not possible.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you'd be dealing
Yeah,
with
yeah,
like the
yeah.
absolute or something. You know, at that
It's just
point
the
you'd be dealing.
rate of change, though, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah,
How often it happens, how quickly. We've still got a lot of changes to do, and it's happening really slowly.
yeah,
When I first started Percy's Grow Room, the forum, it was in November 2018, and they had just legalized in the UK for medicinal use.
mm,
And it was really optimistic at those times. It's like, oh man, within a year and a half, as you look around at the States and at Canada, you think in a year and a half, 2 years, we should have recreational use by then. And then maybe a year after that, we'll have legal growing in the UK. So you're thinking after a couple of years, after the legalization for medical use, that we would be in a position where cannabis is a lot more free. But it's not. We're still in the same position we were back in 2018. It's been like 7.5 years now, and that's just fucking ridiculous, man. I was optimistic back then, but this can actually progress at a steady stage, and a lot of work got done in the early days because it was supposed to move a lot faster than it has, and because of the restrictions that are still in place, it's just have to go on cruise control for a while and just drift until the restrictions are lifted, so you can go full steam again.
mm,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
It feels like that's the position I'm in. And maybe it's just because I've been doing it for so long, or maybe I'm just tired.
yeah.
you know, but I don't feel tired. I just feel I wouldn't say disheartened either because I'm not. I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to go. Just open the fucking gates and let me go. You know what I mean? I got shit I want to do.
Yeah.
So
I mean, maybe
it's just
maybe it's just a temporary plateau or something. You know, it's something like that where you've just kind of
mhm.
that you've peaked at this level, and that's why something needs to
Yeah, yeah.
change, or this is it fucking like stagnant kind of thing.
Which I'm fine with. I don't even care about that. I
Mm,
don't, even if we go fully legal and I'm able to make videos and do all this, I don't really mind about how many viewers we get. I appreciate every single one. I don't care if we stick at 1,000 listeners or go on to 1 million listeners. I just enjoy making the content. I enjoy doing this shit, man. I love talking about cannabis. I like talking about herbal medicines, mushrooms. I like having random conversations with people on the internet. I like getting together on Sundays every week with my friends, my online friends, and discuss the news, discuss the hobby we all collectively love, which is growing cannabis, and help other people to learn how to do that. I don't care how many listeners we have and shit. It's just fun to do that, and the listeners are an added bonus. But even if I started to make the videos and stayed at this level, I'd still be happy with that, man, because I just enjoy making the content. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's the most important thing. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, then it's going to go okay. But there's more I want to do. I want to play with some more shit, but I can't because the old bill said I can't. Fucking, you know what I mean? The government said no because I live in this particular plot of land on the planet. I can't do that. Piss take.
yeah. No, that's good. It's good that that's how you're like that's your philosophy for creation. You know, for content creation and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. It's like that's the best, purest way of navigating because it's often you get people that they get lost in the notion of like fucking superstardom and like the notion of like never-ending possibilities and stuff like that. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
success would look like. You know, success looks like a nice car. When the notion of like success is like slow mornings and getting to be able to fucking control your day.
You know what I
You know what I
mean?
mean?
You know what I mean? It's been able to get up in the morning and be like, I'm gonna do this today and be able to fucking do it and enjoy
Yeah.
it. I'm not well off. I'm quite comfortable. It's crazy because I just it's not like I ever want to be rich. I'm already comfortable enough. I'm comfortable being poor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't have a great car, I don't have a great house and all that shit. And I could have more, but I don't want it. I'm happy like this. This is all I need. You know what I mean?
So over the
And
past
it's
like was it like 5 years or so, a bit more than that? Like, what that'll be? That'll be 6, 7, 8 actually, since you started the
mhm.
forum and stuff. Like, what's apart from inevitable, that's a long time, so you would have changed as a person from one state to the
Yeah,
next. But it's like,
definitely.
what have you learned? Like from like what pops to mind? You know, if it was your last day, your fucking last heartbeat, and you had to think about this time of your life when it comes to the podcast and the grows and that, like, what would do you think would be present?
Man, it's been difficult, It's but a good difficult. You know what I mean? There's been trials, man, and there's been heartbreaks. That's the hardest thing. I think. Wow, it's the people make it. Everything else is bullshit. The people who have come across over the internet throughout this shit has been fucking amazing. I've met so many, and it says crazy to say met so many people
Mm.
because you know I've met a few, but there's been thousands of people come across the forum, fucking hundreds of thousands probably who have come across the forum, and I've met just a few of them. But there's been so many who I've never met, haven't even seen them through camera, only through the forum and listen to the podcast, who are considered real friends in my life, and that's crazy. But at the same time, it's how relationships can fucking sour as well, which I've realized how people can just, you know, you can be real good friends one week and then somebody just hates your fucking guts over something minor the next week. That's damaging.
Mm.
I don't like that aspect of it. I don't know, man. People can just get triggered really easily by things. So you can make friends, really good friends doing this, and I have, but I've also lost good friends by doing this too. It's a double-edged sword, man. But fucking hell, I've enjoyed it very much. And I even thought a few months ago, you know, if I could just pause life at this stage as it is now and just live like this forever, possibly, then I'd be quite happy with that. You know, it's I don't want any more or less than what I have now. Just I'll be fine cruising to this level like this. But that's not life, is it? Change is inevitable, you know.
Yeah. That's a win though. Like to have that, to be able to
Oh, that's it.
say
Then
that
that's
you've
what I'm
had like say
saying.
that you've had that
It's
thought,
like,
it's a fucking win. That
mhm.
shows it's like there's a good thing going on in that moment.
That's right. And that's it. That makes me a rich man. You know, I don't have gold and much silver. You know, not rich. And as I said, I don't drive a fancy car. I don't own my own house. You know, I'm nowhere near well off, but I'm fucking rich enough to be happy with my life. Many people are not at that stage. You know, so I'm just happy with that. I
Yeah.
mean, zero debt. You know how nice that is, being zero debt. Jesus, none of my friends are in zero debt. You know, it's a lucky stage to be at in life.
Yeah. It's without a doubt, especially considering the entire fucking economy's built on it.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Mm.
Yeah. So
That's the
life's good,
fucking
man. Life's good, and the forum makes it good, and the podcast makes it good. It's so much work making the podcast, but it's so worth it, man. It's
mm.
so worth it. We have so much good fun, and get to it's opened up so many opportunities for me over the last 7 years. You know, to be well 5 years for the podcast. The podcast is 5 years old, but to speak to the legends I've had the opportunity to speak to, and consider those friends as well.
Mm.
You know, like
So
Jorge
of
Cervantes,
all the
man.
people you've interviewed, like who pops to mind?
Well, Jorge Cervantes, because it's not like I've just interviewed Jorge. He's been on the show 6, 7, 8 times. I don't even know. He's in my WhatsApp. I speak to him regularly. And it's like he's not just somebody who's been on my show for an interview. These are one of my friends. Jorge's a friend, man. I've met him in real life. And I remember back in the day, like late 90s, early 2000s, when I first started getting into this shit, I was watching VHS of Jorge Cervantes
Yeah.
teaching people how to grow cannabis with his black beret and his dreads. And just think that I've not only interviewed that guy, but, I could message him right now and be like, yo, Jorge, how you doing, bro? How's things? How's the swimming? How's your back doing? You know what I mean? It's crazy to think that, the podcast has brought me to that. And I could message Tommy Chong today. Wouldn't be as friendly because, he's a proper professional guy, Tommy Chong. But, and they had Graham Hancock on the show, who's somebody who has followed for many, many years. And, just to think of that opportunity, it's been loads of fun, man. It's been loads of fun, but at the same time, hard work. But if it wasn't hard work, mate, everybody would fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Mm-mm. What
Yeah.
about you? How many podcast interviews have you done now? Because you're
Um,
recently getting back into it, aren't you?
yeah, altogether, I think it's so when I first started doing them, I was calling them real cannabis stories. So I was looking back over this because obviously when I got started, I was like, which fucking number is this? And I think this is this one. If it's uploaded next, then I think it'll be 83.
Well,
I think. Oh my, it says my
so
internet's
quite a lot then.
unstable.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's the list is uh, decent. Like it's the archive of fucking people who've been spoken to and stuff like that. That's why I was asking because I know like it feels like I'm collecting fucking skill points in life by talking to people from like a really diverse background. You know, it's because you're finding
Mm,
out something and you know something new from every single person. There's not one person on the planet that couldn't teach you something. And I think it's good to
mhm.
the more diverse um, range of people that you kind of interact with, the broader your horizons are going to be. You know, your
Yeah,
perspective's going
yeah.
to be bigger. So um, that's one of the things I've liked the most about it. And it's also, you know, what's also
Hmm.
interesting? It's like the world's, it's like a mirror. So you really get to see who you are based on every single interaction. Every interaction is unique, so you're responding to it, like in a unique way every time. So I like that. That's what I like the most about it. Like people are
Yeah.
every single person is like a walking, talking fucking movie. You just need to add a
Hmm.
soundtrack
Hmm.
and get the certain details, and then you know you've got a film. So I think that's the coolest thing about it. You know,
Yeah, I think so as well. I think it's definitely one of my favorite things is just having the ability to speak to people. And look, you've done 83 interviews, and
no,
it's,
well, so
I
that's what
mean,
sorry,
like
that's what I was
after
going to
you,
say. That's a fucking stone moment, man. I was like, it's 83, but the first five I did are called Real Cannabis Stories. So I think this will be 88. That's what I was thinking. I was like, why the fuck? Because I changed. I wasn't calling them podcasts for maybe the
Mhm.
first year. I think it was all interview. It was like exclusive interview, and I think
Yeah.
it got to like number 18 or 19, and then I started calling it the podcast. I think.
But
Um,
bro, you got to think, right? When it comes to this kind of thing, and you do long form like I do, you speak to somebody for an hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe longer, and how many people don't even have those conversations anymore? How many people can you say, have had these conversations? How many people do you think? What percentage of the population have had just an in-depth hour-long conversation with somebody?
I
It
mean,
doesn't
like
happen anymore,
it
man.
sounds silly and it sounds insulting, but I know certain women that are able to talk to their pals on the phone for 4 hours solid. Like they'll just
True,
have them on the phone the whole
true.
day in the background on the
Yeah.
fucking bunker, just chatting
But
away. And I'm
that's a
like, what the
friend,
fuck are you
though.
still
That's a
talking about?
friend. Friends don't count. Random people.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's
no,
just
random people.
you
Yeah,
got you meet somebody in the coffee shop and you start having a conversation with them. How many of them last more than an hour?
oh
People don't
no,
have these
don't.
conversations,
Yeah,
these open form conversations anymore, and especially conversations that conflict. When you have disagreements or even things that you agree with. Conversations don't go on for very long anymore. So to even be able to have the fact that you've done over 80 of these long form conversations, it builds a muscle that most people don't have. So you have the ability to keep an engaging conversation going for at least an hour. I can keep an engaging conversation going with myself for an hour, bro. I can sit there and chat shit, and I've done it loads of times. Because I'll fire up an interview for the patrons. It goes live, so the patrons are sitting in the background and they're watching the show. So I'll start 15 minutes before the guest comes. I'll start a quarter to. Guest arrives on the hour. Then we talk for like an hour and a half, and then I'll do 15 minutes on the end. But sometimes the guests don't show up, and I can be sitting there chatting shit for a whole hour and not even realize it. Well, the guest hasn't showed up. Oh, we'll give them 15 more minutes, and then we'll talk about this and just talk about shit. Obviously, bouncing with the people in the chat as well, backwards and forwards with those. But man, it's an acquired skill to be able to just sit there and have no dead air for an hour and just chat absolute shit about whatever comes up. I love that shit. That's my favorite. Sometimes I love it when guests don't show up.
yeah.
And I can just sit and fucking chat shit about whatever's in the news or whatever comes up. I love that shit, man. It's so much fun.
That's actually really interesting when you think about that because there's two different, like the notion of you're technically in those moments, you're technically alone. You're in the room you're on your own and you're chatting. So there is no of that form of interaction, but you've got the computer, you've got this
Mhm.
public entity. So it's quite an interesting thing to because you're in conversation with yourself, but you're still in conversation. There's still an
Yeah.
exchange of ideas. And I think the part of it that makes it kind of cool is that there's the part of you which would be like regarded as the ego type thing, which is promoting your opinion and the things and that kind of thing. And then the part of you, which would probably be like your super ego or something, would come in the back of that and edit it and have the devil's advocate of what you think the public would say. And that's how you probably keep the thing sustained. Oh, well, this is the thing that's just been said recently, and I know that these are the perspectives that are potential. Try and keeping it as fucking, it's like, what is it, like verbal gymnastics in a way, Well, it's just,
Mhm.
it's quite interesting. Just the notion of that because by no means there are like just when you think about the amount of people that do that, because if the thing is right, if you did it when there was nobody on the screen in the house yourself, that would be regarded as a bizarre behavior, like talking to himself. You know, what the fuck is that? But like
Maybe,
with
maybe
that
it depends on
format,
the end result.
yeah. Well, I mean, have you ever walked in on somebody that's talking to themselves? Like you walk in, they're in the room alone, speaking in conversation. It's kind of, I don't know, disconcerting.
Yeah,
Like, you all right,
that'd be
fucking chat
weird.
to yourself, bro.
Yeah. Mm-mm. But man, it's fucking fun. I love doing it, and I know you do too because you do it as well.
Yeah,
To
fucking
talk to
right. I
people
mean,
on the
Jesus,
internet
I
is
said
more
the other
fun
day
than
at
people
work actually about
realize.
the fact that it's a fortune that there's even a podcast structure in place because I'm like
Mm.
fucking hyper verbal, manic as fuck, super strong work ethic, tons of fun. It's just constant production all the time. You know, it's like manic's
Hmm.
probably the best description for it. That's why, let's say, obviously doing the podcast, getting that up every Thursday. Whilst 'cause I think this is number four, I think, in the past couple of weeks, and it's just I'm recording the Sunday, uploading the Thursday, and at the same time, obviously, I'm trying to finish the Donny movie, and that's like intense levels of what, like
Yeah, man.
that's intense, man. The
It's a
level of
grind, bro.
drawing that's involved. You what?
It's a grind, man.
Yeah, no, this is a whole point. It's fucking intense, but it's weird. It's also like it's I'm compelled to do it. You know what I mean? You feel the same. If you didn't do what you're doing,
Yeah.
you would feel like there was an absence. It's one of those things where like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
fuck, there's an
Hmm.
absence there in your life.
Yeah, yeah. It becomes part of who you are,
Mm.
and like on the rare occasion we have a Sunday off because we do the live stream every Sunday, and it wasn't 9 o'clock for the 5 years of the podcast. It was 9 o'clock, but now we do it at 6 o'clock UK time.
Right.
Yeah, and on the rare occasion we have a Sunday off. It's only a couple of times a year, and on those Sundays, it's just like, what the fuck? There's something I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Mm.
It's just so ingrained into your whole schedule. You just get used to doing it. And when podcasts don't go out for a week after we have a week off like that, it just feels strange, man.
Mm.
Like I'm supposed to be doing something right now. And I know it's a chore to make the podcast. It obviously doesn't make itself. You have to put the work in to make it happen. And it's a little bit of work. It's not as much as it used to be because you get used to it as well. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm.
producing a movie. There's things that you know now, but you didn't know when you first started this. That just makes the whole process so much smoother and quicker.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with the podcast. So it is a lot of work, but you're used to it. So you kind of just know how the wheels roll.
Mm.
And so you just get it done. And it's just I enjoy getting every episode completed and getting it out there for people. It's a beautiful thing, man. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky, and because people listen to the show as well. It's crazy to see the numbers that we get, because all we do is we're just a group of people who it's like chatting shit on the internet and teaching people how to grow weed.
Yeah. But it's clearly relatable to like a large number of people. That's
Yeah, yeah.
people tend
Well,
to be
we're laid back.
nobody
We're
kind of
really
gets
laid
joy
back
to
with it.
fucking like the things that are bullshitters. You know what I mean? People are put
Hmm.
off by things that they think are false or like fucking deceiving and that kind of stuff. So it's it's like a reflection of the authenticity that you're producing clearly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's it. Sometimes we say things incorrect because we don't know everything.
Mm.
And because we have some banter on the show, man, we take the piss out of each other so much. It's we wouldn't mind if somebody says something we thought was wrong and just be like, "Yo, Brad, you full of shit, bro."
Mm. Yeah.
you know, we have a good time with it, man. And it's just, I don't know, the authenticity. They're just like a group of friends sitting there talking about something they all enjoy. It's always going to be a fun conversation, you know. It's
Yeah.
difficult for you because you're always on your own as well, aren't you? With your podcast, where you have your guest, but you don't have the panel. You don't have people sitting with you, because that makes
No.
it fun too.
Yeah, no, the thing is having the banter and stuff like that is certainly, it's good, having that kind of thing. But I think you kind of get into the habit of it because it's by no means like an isolated show here. I do everything, but there's like a soundboard of people that's helpful and extremely fucking critical. Well, which is good.
Mm.
That's it. It's like really helpful to have people that are gonna like tell you what's wrong with it before they tell you what's what's good with it. And I think that's really that keeps you on your toes. And I think yeah, that adds a wee bit of colour to everything you produce because there's like an anticipation. Every single time something gets uploaded or something gets made, cartoons or podcasts or the movie specifically, like there's fucking it feels like there's like a low rumble around me every time I'm talking about the movie to everybody. That's what it feels like. There's like this
Mm.
anticipation because everybody showed up at the fucking CANNAMAN movie, so they know what it looks like and how it. And that's a lesser scale than the Donny movie when that's finished. The CANNAMAN movie was first time doing it, first time trying to market it. As you're saying, there's certain things that that I know that I'll certainly not be doing with this one that will also help the numbers. I mean, at the moment it's looking pretty fucking good. So it's interesting to have that. It just feels like there's this low hum, and I've still got fucking like several months of work to go, but it feels like there's this low hum fucking of folk like there's this thing happening this year. You know, it's good.
Yeah, man. Nice.
You know, it's kind of cool.
It's good. That buzz, that energy, that it's like the muse is creating this thing through you.
Mm.
It's great, man. It's always good to be creative. So you say 7 months work still?
Yeah, well, nah, I think it's going to be what are we now? Maybe 6 months, maybe. And I don't really. There's 3 or 4 scenes left, and each scene is roughly 4 to 6 weeks to create.
Hmm. Right,
So
right.
that's roughly the timeline, give or take. Life getting in the way and all that kind of work and all that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's already looked. So I was calculating up the time, and I think it's going to be about an hour and 10 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes, the whole film.
Nice.
So it's which is good because one of the main criticisms, I mean, that was an inverted criticism, I think, was people saying that because the last one was an hour, they were like they could have watched it again, could have kept watching it, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, right, so that's it. And I mean, if folk are after an hour saying to you, oh, that's shit that it finished after an hour, something was going well. So I
Mm-mm.
definitely need to make sure that there was the same feeling. I mean, the next one is frustrating because I know what it's looking like. It's all just broken down, different scenes and that kind of thing that have been made so far. But it's looking fucking shit hot. It's looking really.
Nice, man.
I just need to. I really need to put a lot of effort into the marketing. That's going to
Mhm.
be the main
You're gonna get
decider
on our
for it.
show at some point. When you're ready, get on our show. Make sure you let all our guys know about it as well. You
No,
know
I
you're
appreciate
always
that.
welcome, mate.
Yeah,
Just let me know.
yeah. No, I appreciate that a lot, man. That's really helpful because I just it's the process of I'm not sure how to release it. So I definitely there will need to be a premiere. There'll have to be a pre-screening of myself and the low hum that I'm talking about. They'll have to fucking so there'll be like a handful of us that'll be watching it. Initially. Like they've not seen really any of it. And I obviously have fucking made the whole fucking thing. So I'll be sitting with like a notepad and a pen on that first pre-screening that I'll get the theatre because I know some of the guys that work in the theatre that I'll be premiering in. It's a good, I mean, it's a brand new fucking theatre as well. It's like 500 seater. So it's
Yes.
fucking massive, man. So if I like the numbers, if I could fill even half of that, because the last time it was about 120 that showed up to the Canman movie. So
Nice.
it did look kind of it looked empty because the theatre's fucking massive, but at the same time that 100 people standing in a group's it's a lot of people.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm excited about how this is going to go, but marketed in the right way. I mean, it is one of those things when I've shown a couple of the scenes to a couple of people, and it's just it's Netflix ready. It's like Adult Swim. It's like one of those. It looks like it just needs slightly polished and it needs slightly because it's like I'm doing everything. I can't emphasize enough like
Mhm.
the level of work that's involved. I mean, that's why it's taken 2.5 years almost.
Mhm.
Because you're really you're like building a fucking massive boat by hand with a fucking hammer. It's going to take a while. So
Yeah, man.
it's
Rome wasn't built
it's
in a
going to
day,
be.
mate. And as I said earlier, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, man. It's
Mm,
supposed to be difficult because when you get to the end and you achieve that final goal, when it's done and people are watching it and loving it, man, there's not many things that can top that feeling. You know what I mean? Like you completed the goal, man. It is
yeah.
done. It's bittersweet, because I know, it's nice to keep busy and working on something, but you finished it, the work is over. But at the same time, being a creative person, it's like, what am I doing next?
Yeah, no, I mean, I
I
already know,
mean,
like, the fucking, once the movie's finished,
mhm.
there's, I know what's going to be happening next after. Like, the notion of
Nice.
the Donnie movie, or Donnie and Cannaman as an animation series, whatever, forces, never done. Like, I'm never going to, there's a series that I'm going to do that's not related to them, and it'll take about 6 months. And in that time period, I'll hate to just put up couch skits, because there's about 63 of them, 2 minute animation couch skits to Cannaman and Donnie, on the YouTube channel. And I think I'll probably throw one of them up every 2 to 3 weeks whilst I'm working on this alternative series, which isn't anything to do with cannabis at all. It's just like a fucking Scottish banter thing. I'm
Nice.
going to make that's going to be much more relatable to mainstream Scottish television. Like that filter
Hmm,
period.
hmm.
They're still going to be swearing through it. There's still going to be that kind of shit. But I'm going to try and actually like make a product that's able to be marketed in a way of like anything that's not going to be discriminated against immediately, even though there's still going to be
Yeah, yeah.
you
Hmm,
know
hmm.
um
That's it.
people in it.
Because that's
So
the shit we have to put up with. We kept being cannabis related.
yeah.
We just instantly held back.
Mm.
We're just restricted in so many different ways. You know, you can't have the same kind of PayPal account if you're cannabis related. PayPal can shut you
Yeah.
down. There's so many fucking things, man. It's an absolute farce, all the hoops we have
Mm.
to jump through. So to have a side project like that, something that's not cannabis related as well, which you can, you can make that go at full speed. And I've been
Mm.
thinking about it myself. You know, I mentioned Art Bell earlier. So I'm a big fan of Art Bell and Coast to Coast and the type of radio show that he did. And I've been thinking, man, maybe I just want to do that for a bit. Maybe I just want to make a little radio show on the side where people can call in. You know, today's episode, we're talking about time travelers. If you are a time traveler, get the Zoom link, go to the Discord, get the Zoom link, get people vetted before they come on. You got 3 minutes, tell me your story, and then leave. And then, I can sit there and chat shit for an hour by myself. So if you just get
Mm.
random people dropping, tell a story, leave, we'll discuss it. Man, that'd be so fucking cool. I love that so much. But it's just finding the time, mate. I already use up so much of my time.
Yeah.
But that would have been my next thing, something along the lines of that, which is not cannabis related at all. And then I can be more open with it and not be so restricted.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a good idea. I mean, that's let's see, it's what is it? It's you're not getting any more time. It's about how you orientate it.
You
So there's
know what
always.
they say though, if you want something done, give it to a busy man. That's the saying. Because people who like to keep themselves busy are able to fit all these different things into their schedule. I could do it. I could fit it in.
Mm.
I could fit it in. I'll do a few tester shows at some point. I got some ideas on how it would work, and I've got an idea for a name as well. So I think it will come to something where I'm like, yeah, I just want to make this show on the side. This will be fun.
Yeah. It's funny that thing. I
So,
always
would you
think
would
these
you
kind of
phone in?
things.
Will you?
Sorry?
Would you phone in? Would you
Oh,
phone
fucking
in
right.
like
Yeah, I'll come in.
to
Oh,
my
fucking. I
podcast
was
and be like,
abducted.
want to
Right
talk
there.
about the Epstein
Smash
list?
bucket them.
We got Connor here. You got 3 minutes. What do you have to say about the Epstein list, Connor?
Like 45 minutes later.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Shit, but it'd be fun, man. If you don't know Art Bell from Coast to Coast, the radio show, back in the '90s, this guy was doing his thing just to go in from midnight till 6 o'clock in the morning across the USA. People driving their trucks would listen to it, and it'd just be paranormal stuff, time travelers, ghosts, UFOs. Bob Lazar was on there at one point. Man, just random shit like that. People phoning in from Area 51 and freaking out because they're being tracked. Just loads of crazy shit. I'd love them kind of conversations. I think that might be the next step. I'm going to have to, now I've mentioned it publicly like this. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to do something now, bro. Shit. Where did you go? Are you still there? He's on mute. You on mute? No, you're just not there. Internet might be broken.
There we go, man. Is that better?
There we go. Yeah,
My
sweet.
fucking internet's a nightmare. Um,
Yeah, yeah, you said.
I know. It's
What internet
fucking
you got? You not got
missionary.
Starlink?
Starlink.
Yeah, Starlink's getting cheaper and cheaper, man. I'm considering getting it myself.
What is it?
Like, what is Starlink or what is the price?
No, no. What is Starlink? I've never heard of that before.
It's Elon Musk internet thing. He flies the satellites around the world. It's like satellite internet.
All right. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm no like. He's not a fully. I wouldn't regard Elon Musk's as a trustworthy dude. Like
You're not one of them, are you?
when I what?
I'm only joking. No, some people just don't like Elon Musk, man. And you can understand that he's not liking billionaires and all that. But I think Elon Musk does a lot of good shit. But that's just my opinion. That's what I see of him. I think he's like we were saying earlier, all these we have this thought crime, this thought speech, this bullshit that we have to put up with nowadays because the social networks are all owned by somebody, the media's owned by somebody. But then Elon Musk buys X. And now it's not so censored so much. There's at least a platform where we have much more of an open discourse than what we have. I think he did a lot when he took over Twitter the way that he did. It's still not perfect, of course, because nothing ever is, but at least there's somewhere. And it seems to coincide with because people used to love Elon Musk because he made all those electric vehicles and shit. It's like, oh yeah, Elon's so cool. He's changing the world. And then he got into the Trump administration and he bought X. And then since then, it's just been constant negative press about him. So they've kind of changed the narrative on how Elon Musk is spoken about. And I think that's a big part of why people dislike him so much.
Yeah.
What
I'll
do
be
you think?
honest.
Am I a crazy person?
I've like always really liked him. He's a really
Hmm.
fascinating guy. How he is, how he talks, like fucking what he's created is he's really fascinating. But I just don't. I think my main thing is that I don't really have much faith in anybody at that level. being
Hmm.
morally sound or
Right.
having
Yeah.
my best interest in their mind.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know what I
can
mean?
agree with that. Definitely.
So I think that's just where
Yeah.
it's inevitably questionable.
But I think that about most people anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this
Just
is fucking.
most
If I'm
people
being
are into
honest, it's kind of a
themselves.
tiring time to live. You know, that's the Epstein
It
files have
is, isn't
showed
it?
that.
It
Like
is for
the
sure.
notion of the. I did a wee sketch thing when I was at work the other day of like Epstein files fucking cartoon joke hangs where I was like, I did three wee sketches, and one of them was that. What the fuck was it again? It was like, yeah, we know that fucking the world's been run by satanic billionaires, blah blah blah. But the guy's sitting at his work, but he's like speaking to his boss, and he's like, "Oh, but this customer review says you're rude. You know, what do you believe? How do you respond to that? You know, it's just these kind of like the wee boy talking about the fact that all the same shit, satanic bullshit, fucking pedos, all that kind of stuff. And he's like, yeah, and then the entire society is run by these satanic people, and his dad sitting next to him, going, shh, shush, football's starting. You know, and that's what it's kind of like, where we've
Mm-hmm.
been desensitized in such a way that we've been given this unbelievably abhorrent fucking like what is it, like waterfall of information. That's what it's just like being fucking bombarded every single fucking feed
Mm-hmm.
almost. You can't escape it. You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's just that every single fucking thing is this. You know, and it's like I don't know. It just feels like personally, I think it's like that. There's a a strategy to like lower the frequency on a mass scale. That's the only way I can
Mm-hmm.
describe it. There's some form of non-physical fucking element that's related to, as I said earlier, about the notion of promoting trauma and fear and that those kind of low vibrational fucking emotions. And that's why they're using
Mm-hmm.
all this. And it just feels like a really disorientating time to live in. It's fucking
Yeah,
bizarre.
I think so as well. It's stressful, isn't it? Stressful might not be the right word, but there's just so many things to be angry about when realistically, yeah, I saw something right. This was what it relates to. Remember 28 days later when they were created the rage virus and they got a monkey and they strapped it down in a chair, pinned its eyes
Oh yeah.
open. And in Clockwork Orange, did the same thing to that guy and just showed him videos of rage, beatings, murder, angriness, protests, just spamming it down him all the time. That's the world we live in now. That's all we see across the mainstream media networks. You're just being hit constantly with this shit. It's a 24-hour news cycle, keeps talking about stuff. They want to get clicks on the internet. So all social media is full of just rage baiting shit. And we're just constantly shown all this stuff that just makes us fucking angry to get a reaction out of us. So we interact with something. It's fucking crazy. It's like we just live that life that monkey was living in that fucking chair. Oh, and I said to myself the other day, I've really got to stop getting up and checking X. Just get up, check my phone, go to X, see what the news is, and it's like, I'm gonna just go watch some fun Instagram reels for a little bit. But even my Instagram reels are savage. But maybe no social media for the first hour. Start your day first before you start sitting yourself down in the chair with your eyes pinned open on a rage machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it feels a
Damn.
bit like a fucking. When I think about it, it feels like a fucking like the internet as an like an entity. It fucking it feels like
It's Pandora's box, man.
I don't know, man. It feels alien. It feels like there's fucking it's alive.
Mm.
Because and also as well, like it's a really bizarre thing to enslave yourself as a people digitally. Like as like because essentially what they're saying is if it's not some like alien gifted influenced fucking thing of some form that's led us here, then that means then that every new technological development from like the wheel to the fucking light bulb all the way through has been a slow progress to like us as a species digitally stealing our own consciousness. That's what this is. Like we're digitally stealing our own
Mm.
consciousness, and every single new thing is walking. I mean, if you've ever seen somebody wearing the VR, they're disorientated. They're in that place. It's really fucking. It makes me when I put it on. It makes me dizzy as fuck. You know, I've only put them on a couple of times,
Yeah,
but I just can't do it.
just takes a little bit of getting used to. You'll
Well,
be all
that's
right.
it, right? So you're
Stick with
conditioning
it.
it to there, and it's like, and then you walk all the way through, and this is where it's at now. How's it going to be looking in 30 years? You know, it's going to be a full body sensory experience that will completely detach you from like reality, the physical fucking reality thing.
So you're
You know,
touching on one of my favorite topics of discussion right now, Connor, and that is the simulation theory. What are your thoughts? Are we living in a simulation?
Um, I think
Like,
there's probably
do
two.
games get so good that we
There's,
can't even
I think,
distinguish them from reality anymore?
I think there's two. I think there's two simulations. I think. Um,
Okay.
that's there's the one that we're manufacturing, which is the VR and the internet. There's that as a simulation, and which is on the outside. And I think the layer just before that is like our collective interpretation of reality. Like every single one of us is like a walking, talking camera of consciousness. The red light's on, you're conscious, you're walking about, you're going to your work, you're doing that thing. You're active as an information absorber and like distributor. And you're absorbing and distributing that information from like this baseline reality thing. It's like a fucking like real world experience that we've all been put on as we avatars active. There's that,
Hmm.
and I think that's what it's kind of like. That it's that, and because that's the thing, right? This is why it's important. Why that's also a the reason why it's also a simulation is because of the fact that it doesn't really like it's it doesn't really exist. It exists in the same digital context. Those electrical fucking interpretations in your brain will be likely very similar to the fucking electrical currents that are shooting through like a games console when that reality is being played. You know, it's like if like your
Mhm.
every single thought, every single fucking memory and sensory experience is a literal electrical fucking current of or relationship to that in your brain and your neurochemistry and all that kind of thing. Like it's active, it's completely connected. And I think that's what makes it similar because that mechanism, that fucking neurochemical electrical mechanism, which is like initiated from like the external world, is very similar to like holding the control and fucking moving the computer about. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's like two similar
Yeah.
situations. So I think that's what makes it interesting. That it's that we've definitely got one simulation, 100%. We're making it. It's the internet. You can do online experience. You can do all that kind of thing, and we've got that already. There's that simulation world, and I do think there's one just before it, and that's like our collective experience. You know,
Yeah.
what's your thoughts
Crazy
on
one. Oh man, I it's difficult because I don't like to say anything certain, but I like to put it down as these kind of get out clause of it as well. Is the odds are we are living in a simulated reality. We are
what
most likely living a simulated reality.
you think we most likely do?
But that's what the odds are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like because if you break it down, right, it comes up to a few simple questions really, which require simple answers, and it's at some point in the future, and this could be 1,000 years, 100 years, 10,000 years, maybe 10 years, right? Do we achieve the technology where we can create games that are indistinguishable from reality? And most people would say, yes, that seems pretty fucking likely. But we're gonna, it's gonna be infused with our brain or something. Where we just who knows what technology we're gonna have in 100 years time, or even that 5,000 years. If technology keeps pursuing the way that it does, but how are we gonna look in 5,000 years? Of course, we're gonna have crazy games that we can't even comprehend yet. That are gonna be you would not be able to tell if it was real or not. So either that happens or it doesn't. And the chances are it's going to happen at some point. Either technology stops somehow. And if it does stop somehow, then maybe a million years in the future, it all starts again. And then maybe then they have a simulated reality. So the odds are at some point, there's going to be a game that's indistinguishable from reality. We're going to have that technology. And as a result, say for like Grand Theft Auto, you're going to have all these Grand Theft Auto characters. There's going to be a billion different simulated realities on some computer device. All these different people around the world have their device with their game, and it's going to be a billion simulated realities. So if there's a billion simulated realities and one base reality, which is the real one, then that would say that there's a billion to one chance that we are in the base reality at the start, and then a billion other chances that we're in a simulated reality. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So it just the odds are, I would say, we are in a simulated reality. We wouldn't even know,
Well, I mean, we definitely
or do
wouldn't.
we?
That's the thing. I just that implies then that it's like I think that's what gets my mind. You're talking about like there's a billion realities and stuff like that. It's like every single there. How many humans are on the planet? You know, there's like 9,
There's
10,
like
11, 11. But like, is it eight? Is it 8 billion?
8 billion.
Billion.
Well, just tipping over 8 billion, is it?
Right. Okay. So
Just
that's
tipping
eight
over. It's
billion.
around there.
That's 8 billion little walking, talking, perspective consuming cameras. Like every single one of them is
Maybe,
like a new
maybe
fucking
only
every.
20 of them are real, and the
No,
rest
no,
of them are
I don't even mean
NPCs,
that. I
bro.
mean, it's like if you think about how it looks and how much when people are interacting with each other, you know,
Right.
it's you're I don't know. There's already a fucking hell. It's almost like biological robotics, each one of us, you know.
Mhm.
Biological,
Mhm.
but we're very mechanistic. So I think yeah, it's just I wouldn't be like us being the base reality. And this is
Very
the beginning, and
unlikely.
this is the I know, but no, but if this is the base reality, and we're beginning to create the fucking new ones and stuff like that. I don't know.
Either way is a fascinating thought, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I mean to be the thing. I do think that there's some form of simulation basis in some form because I've obviously seen like images and stuff like that of on the microcosm of like how cells are structured and like when
Hmm.
like there's numerous examples and then also on how throughout nature and stuff like that, where there are other examples, like geometric examples of that kind of mathematical fucking thing that would make up a computer, which
Yeah.
therefore would be the simulation, all that kind of shit.
Hmm.
So I do think that I just think the main thing passes through my mind is the definition of simulation. That's the main thing. I think
Mm.
that's like
Yeah, yeah.
the
Interesting.
definition of
Mm.
simulation could be different and varied, obviously, in that sense. So I think that's what the how the simulation is defined and represented is
Mm.
as important a question as are we in a simulation?
Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. So when I say simulation, I mean like the human itself, like the Matrix, similar to the Matrix, where the body itself is in some kind of stasis, sleeping, unconscious, while it is plugged in or interacting with some kind of computer generated software.
Hmm.
To Because you got to think of it as well, and these thoughts go deep. I like to talk about this shit when I'm on the mushrooms, especially. but but the thoughts that you have, like you might be experiencing shit now, but any memory you have could have just been installed as part of the software. You could have been playing the game for 5 minutes, you wouldn't even know. It's just programmed in the software that you've got this history of 30, 40 years, however old you are. It's just part of the install, the software, the memory, the character that you play, just
Hmm.
part of their storyline. You wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even know. Saying in a 5,000 years' time, technology is so advanced that we have no problems at all. Everybody eats well, everybody is well entertained. Yeah, everything you need. Don't need to struggle with anything whatsoever. So life is really fucking easy, and you can live until you're 800 years old, so you get bored real quick. So one of the ways to keep yourself entertained is to go into a simulation where you can visit a time where the internet was first being created, where computers first became a thing, when the world changed and we started to get mobile technology. Because just think of all the things that we've experienced over the last 50 years. It's crazy to think how lucky we are to be living at this time. Maybe this is just one of the simulations, like Total Recall. You just go back to this fucking certain period of time that you find interesting, and you just go and the computer generates it for you. Like, this is what time was like back then. Go and experience history. It's a crazy thought. All it is just software. Maybe if it's a simulation. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying it most likely is. You know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely don't think that in the term of like, I mean, I believe in God and stuff like that. Like, I believe
Okay.
that it's, yeah, you know, so I think, and,
Which one? Christianity?
but this is exactly it. So when I think about God, I think, when I'm saying I believe in God, I believe that the universe has a conscious, undercurrent at all times that's related to every single thing that's contained in it. There's like a rhythm, like the geometry that we see patterned through nature, through the human cell, will be the same geometry that's patterned right to the macroest cosm fucking possible. You know what I mean?
Mm.
That's like that's just how it is. So built from the top down, from the bottom up, it's mathematical fucking structure. And I think like there's like a consciousness that's fucking like holding that in
What do
place.
you mean by consciousness? I mean, so you believe there's a creator, something created the universe or the universe itself. Well, I mean, can you go into more detail about that?
What do I believe? No, so I don't. I think a
Like,
lot of this
what
revolves in
is
transit.
God
So,
to you?
like, I think every single one of us walking around is conscious, and I think there is a in the same way that we have the internet, which is a singular. We have all these additional fucking units attached to it. Like we can all individually access the internet as a force of information through various user interfaces. We have tablets and computers and fucking phones and fucking digital watches, and we have all these different user interfaces which can interact with the same element of almost conscious information. Like it's like the internet is constantly growing and developing, obviously as a result of human input. But the internet itself is still it's almost metaphysical fucking library of information, which is like you know what I mean. It's just like this. It's almost that's the only way I can describe that. That there are
You see, but the thing
various
is with
fucking
the
user
internet,
interfaces. You what?
the the internet has a creator.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, as far back as you can fucking go, maybe that's the case. I don't know, but I don't really. This is all I've kind of because every single one of us attempts to figure out in their own perspective, their own template of biology and stuff that produces their personality. Like, what the fuck is this we're all a part of? And everybody comes
Yeah,
up with
it's
different
crazy, isn't it?
interpretations. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
one
So
of
it's
my
like
favorite
it's their own
thoughts. Like,
thing.
what the fuck
You
is
know,
this?
yeah, exactly. It's brilliant. It's a real existential game that we all play with each other, right? It's just kind of like where I am, like who am I, all that shit, right? And I think so. We all come to different conclusions. So I don't ever really think my main point of like investigation has really got to the feels like it's like an interpersonal relationship. That's what it's kind of like, and it's just based on interaction. I don't know. It just feels like same when you see like things that happen is like synchronistic things, and it's just like there's a lot of metaphysicalness that's present in the world that we're part of, and I think that's the best articulation of how I think about the world and God and all that kind of thing is that, and God is a consciousness, fucking energy force, in the same theme as the internet, as a fucking conscious, living,
Mm,
breathing energy force that's not physical but made up of physical things. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like the internet as itself
See,
is like this fucking metaphysical fucking landscape of fucking indefinite eternal information, and it's not physical itself, and yet then there's all this physical um, reactions to it and consequences of it, and like real interactions with this. So it's like a yin and yang, like fucking it's a really bizarre thing to try and conceptualize that we're like
mhm.
hyper connected and dependent on something that's not physically real, but makes up physical fucking institutions and entities and all this kind of shit. It's a really, and then obviously with new technology, they're like, we're trying to integrate the technology biologically. It's that's like almost like it feels like the last step because the entirety of society is fucking society would struggle to say the least if the internet wasn't even fucking functioning.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So it's just yeah, like in the context of God, that's how I try and think about it. There's a user interface of different fucking things, and there's this foundation of like information and all that kind of shit. And that's the kind of the same paradigm that I think about us and then God. That's like that kind of context. So it's never that's where
Yeah.
the conversation always gets fucked up because people initially try and as you'll like hear from that. I never mentioned any religion whatsoever in any of that. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I don't know, like the notion of a guy, the notion of a person or a being or that kind of shit. I didn't. You know what I mean? It's so it's probably wrong then.
Well, I consider myself to be an atheist, but
Right.
like an optimistic atheist. Like I am definitely open to having my mind changed, and I try, man. I've been trying for fucking 30 years to try and
Mm.
figure out what religion is, what God could be, what it means to me, and all this shit. I'm like, fucking hell, I have tried, bro. And you just, I can't. The main thing that you have to do is have to surrender yourself to faith. And I've just never been able to do that. It just makes no sense to me. There being some omnipotent creator or anything like that just makes no sense to me. It doesn't make sense. It just it feels like circular logic and I'm always open to have my mind changed, but I'm
See, what's
even
funny, you
still
saying circular
so
logic. Would it
skeptical.
not be that way? It's almost I don't mean that because I'm the same. Um, I don't know, it's circular logic. Like the universe is that. Like at this perpetual, constantly fucking like, I don't know. Just I got this imagery in my mind there when like circular logic of like the Mandelbrot
But
set when it's just
there's a
reproducing
difference.
constantly at all times.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's conscious. Like in the reference of, say, the Christian God, it doesn't mean when we're talking about the circular logic, the universe had to have been created by something. And it's like, but surely under that same logic, God must have been created by something. If something can't come out of nothing, where did God come from? It makes no sense. It's circular logic. It's I say that it started from this point which we comprehend what it was like before then because time didn't exist. And that was the start of the universe. But for some people to say that was the start of the universe because nothing can be created out of nothing, but here's God, an omnipotent superior being who knows everything and is be able to create things. I thought nothing could be created out of nothing. So where did God come from? What made God? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
So
I think often, right, and I hear that a lot of the stuff, and when people are talking about it, most there's like an anthropological template that's put in place, and it's just so like inevitably as humans we're going to do that. We're going to try and conceptualize something in the notion of like a god or an eternal consciousness. We're going to try and
mhm.
conceptualize that in a way that we can understand in like a human rationale. What I'm saying is I have fucking no idea what we're a part of or any that kind of thing, but it certainly feels
Mhm.
aware. It feels alive. Like it feels alive. That's probably the best way. Take away aware. It feels alive and it's reactive. That's the two things. That's what makes me think the world, that the all of existence and all of the universe is conscious because it feels alive to me, and it's and reactive. You know, that's what
Yeah, so
this.
it's a different kind of definition of God that you
Yeah,
have, and it's not like an
yeah,
interpersonal God. It's more like an energy of the universe living in
yeah. But
amongst a
this is the
certain
thing. This is
energy.
where I think. I think
Like
when the religions like Christianity and shit like that, or even Buddhism or all that kind of thing, what I think those are is like like loose truths with Chinese whispers on top. That's what it's kind of like. Like the truths that are
right.
present in like specific religious texts, the truths that are present. I think when they talk about it gets you closer to God, it gets you closer to alignment of order in the universe, and that's like very mechanical, you know, in that sense. And I
Mhm.
think that's why when they're like it gets you closer to God, a lot of the time I think it can get like I've said that before, where it's like religions are kind of like vehicles, right? They get to the same destination if used correctly for the purities of each single fucking religion, when for the truths that are contained in them, and the rest bullshit. Whereas, you know, some religions, if they're all vehicles, like some vehicles need put off the fucking road. You know what I mean? They do absolutely
Mhm.
nothing, and
Mhm.
it's in the context of that. It's like if they're vehicles, then you've got like fucking priests and all that kind of shit that would be like mechanics, you know, and like mechanics fucking lie to you all the time. You know what I mean? And sometimes your car's fucked. Sometimes it just doesn't work, mate. Just get over it. You know, and take
Mhm.
it off the fucking road. But the whole point is we're all part of a vehicle that's trying to get to a destination. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of the I think you can be atheist and still believe that there's consciousness present in spite of us. I think that.
Right.
I think that's why I don't like. You know, I just think that's why I say Chinese whispers on top of a lot of religions because that's just how it goes. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? They've got
it's a
you've
tough
got.
one, isn't it? It's just, but it's one of those great questions, actually. I like to discuss the questions that can't be answered, just to
Mm.
understand how people's thinking process works and things like that. And that's why I like the simulation theory. That's why like talking about religion because we don't have definitive answers for this shit, and it's always a interesting topic to discuss and bounce ideas around. You
Yeah,
know.
no, I'm the same. That's why it's just like a fun wee existential game. You know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
No, I like it.
Yeah.
So you're just like when you think about these kind of things, like you know, you believe in the simulation theory that that's possible, or
I believe
likely,
it's possible.
but you're
It's not like
also
I
an
believe
atheist.
that we are in a simulation. I think that the chances are we most likely are, but I don't know. I just like these fucking fun
No,
ideas to think
no, that's good. So
about.
it's almost paradoxical. You know what I mean? To be an atheist and also believe that we're in a simulation.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I know what you're saying, but that's just because if this is a simulation, then base reality wasn't created by somebody else, by some god either, by some omnipotent. Because when I think of God, I think about an omnipotent being who knows everything, sees everything, is able to predict everything because he's just so knowledgeable. He understands, whatever it is, just understands the finer workings of the universe and is involved in everybody's life interpersonally because he lives on a completely different dimension to what we live on. So that's what I think as God, and I just think it's very difficult for something like that to exist.
So what do you
But
think would
that's
have
not
been the structuring of the simulation? Like if this is a simulation, if you're saying that you think we live in like a simulation of it, it's most likely, like what would have manufactured the simulation?
like AI, something like that. Because simply, like I said, we get to a stage of technology where there's no struggle in life anymore. And one of the things, though we don't like it, one of the things that makes life interesting is the fact that we struggle sometimes and have
Mm,
hardships that we have to get through. It creates who we are, it gives us personality and character. This is something that we've always had. So when that's gone, it gets really difficult. You don't even. Having a job gives a man purpose. It's not just a paycheck. It helps you identify who you are, and to have a mission to work towards. Like you're a creator. To have something to work towards gives you something to strive for. So you enjoy that kind of shit. But when those things have taken away because everything is just so easy, life doesn't have the same kind of meaning as it has now because there's no meaning to it. There's no struggle. There's nothing to work towards because the technology has taken it all away. So for you to experience life in the original sense, you can go into a simulated reality and experience life what it was pre-technology. And like watching a TV show, but you're fully immersed into it. It's a form of entertainment that helps us stay real. I don't know, gives us some kind of purpose in life to make us feel that for a while.
mm.
You know what I mean? So I just think technology takes away all struggle eventually. Like it's already taken away so many struggles of the world that used to exist 100 years ago compared to what now. Where, like childhood mortality, for example, is massively lower than it's ever been throughout
Yeah.
history.
Thing is, that would also
You
be
know?
circular logic, to say that there's a simulation and the simulation was made by AI. Like that's cyclic
No,
because
but
then there's a
AI was
precursor to
created
AI, who
by
AI was then created by. Eventually, you're going to get to
yeah, yeah.
some form of being. You know,
No,
that's
but yeah,
that's what you're
exactly. Some
describing.
form of being, but not omnipotent. The AI was created by people like us, and then
So the
AI.
entirety of existence is made inside of a simulation by some form of being that's not omnipotent, even though that what you're describing is outside of the
Entirety
thing
of
that was made.
billions of realities would be inside a
Mm,
machine. The base reality, the original, at some point, would have got to a point where technology came to that stage where it could create a game that is completely indistinguishable from reality.
mm,
Technology will reach that point at some point. And if you think that it does, then you have to consider the amount of simulations that exist after that point.
mm.
How many games exist after that point? How many copies of GTA 2000 are out there? You know what I mean? Because GTA is a good example. All these people, GTA 6 will potentially be coming out in the next couple of years at some point, maybe. You know, and how many millions of people are going to buy it and play it?
Mm.
That's now. How's that going to look in 500 years' time? If the game is indistinguishable from
Yeah,
reality,
yeah, but
where you
that's
can just lock
100%.
in and
Yeah,
play
no, I
your
totally get
character,
that. You're just essentially that's just a timeline you're dealing with to before you reach the
yeah, yeah.
concept of a god then. Because the thing is you're talking about Grand Theft Auto on a mass distributed scale of billions of different Grand Theft Autos which equal worlds inevitably. But if you rewind back that distribution from billions of distributions to local distributions to eventually when the game was first created and then the game was just first conceptualized and blah blah, eventually you reach a point where you're dealing with one entity, which would be one guy or a collection of people. That's what
But
that
no,
is. If you
because
rewind back far enough in that example of Grand Theft Auto as a simulated reality, you're dealing with a small collection, if not a couple of people that would have thought about the concept of that to then begin to build into place to then create it. So they're dealing with a few thousand copies and then distributing it
no,
internationally.
but at some point, it's not a conscious creator. In this whole process, there's been the creator of GTA and the creator of AI, all these different things. But at some point, it comes to a place where it would have gone through Darwinian selection and the natural process of physics to get here. And then there's creators from there. That's what I'm saying. At some point, even if God is real, Say God is the third universe in. The first universe would have just, sorry, the first universe would have just, I've done it again, too close. The first universe would have just been created by a random process. And at some point, some beings were created, gone through Darwinian selection, reached a point where their technology got to the extent where they would be considered as gods, and then have gone off and created universes, which we could be in one of those universes.
Mm.
Who knows? But
So the thing is,
originally,
so
for the
all
base
of like
reality,
all of that was created then by a random element. There's a random action or
I,
event. A
I think
random.
that
The thing
is
is,
more
that's where I struggle
likely.
because how could that be? It's that random event occurs inside of a regimented and structured mathematical system.
Mhm.
It
But it's
doesn't.
happened.
It's regimented. Like the entire universe
But
is
it's
a massive
happened
geometric.
trillions of times
No, I
and
know, but
failed
that's the thing. But it's
trillions
like
of times, and there's been one
the
successful.
entire universe is like one massive geometric expression. So inside of that massive geometric expression, there to be a random event
Yeah,
is
because
extremely
this time
unlikely.
it worked.
Which
This time it worked. That's the thing. Because this
what it
could
was.
the Big Bang, for lack of an example, a good example, the Big Bang could have happened trillions of times before, but it's just worked out this one time. All the other times it fails, it could be a countless amount of numbers, quadrillions. It could be a ridiculous amount of times that the universe tried to create itself or was created from a certain amount of energy. We don't know the source of the creation, but that doesn't mean we can put a God there. But at some point, that would have taken place. And then throughout that process, there would have been a life form that existed that created technology that would be considered godlike, that went off to create other universes. That could definitely have happened. But in the base reality, at the very start of everything, I would think it makes more sense to say a random process took place rather than an omnipotent being was created who knew everything and then decided to create everything else.
See,
That
he
doesn't
knew
make any sense
everything.
to me.
I
But
love
then
that.
that's
It's
what
just
it
the
is, right?
anthropomorphic. It must just be the language, maybe. Maybe it's just the language because it's just like who knew everything, who's got all these secrets. You know?
Well,
Love that.
not like how everything works, not as if it's got all the secrets. He just
Mhm.
knows how everything works.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense, does it? It's like a being can't be created that has that kind of knowledge. It definitely makes more sense to think that a random process began, and as a result, something like that was created further down the line.
See, the way I think about it, it's not that like when I think because that's the two challenging. A random process implies, or it's at minimum allows an element of non-physicality, I think, right? So it's kind of a random process, whereas saying that a being implies like an anthropomorphic fucking humanist element to it. And I think the main thing is, but the reason why they say being is because that being is aware, it's conscious, it's interactive. And I think
Mhm.
that my main thing
Again,
is
but that's
that
the definition of what God is to you, though.
no, but well, this is it. This is why I think a lot of this is that's where, in my mind, when I interpret these things, it's like being in the way of like consciousness still allows for everything that's in place. I think that it's non-physicality stuff. I think that like it's the non-physical. It's difficult to conceptualize and
Well,
even
if it
attempt to
the thing
describe
is, if
something
it
that's so abstract and but that's the basis of it. That it's God is a non-physical conscious,
but
interactive
if it
force
exists
similar to
inside
what
of
the
this
internet's like with their
universe,
user interfaces. You what?
but if it exists inside of this universe, then surely it's a physical property in some way.
Well, I mean, is like electricity, like fucking, or like the Wi-Fi, like these are non-physical, but they have physical representations. And I think it's like that. It's like that we're in this constant. The universe is made up of physical and non-physical, and what we see there is equal to or greater non-physical um, element influence. I don't know, but
But see,
there's the
what do you mean by influence? If it's not conscious,
well, think about it.
how can it
Think
be
about
an
it. Well, it's
influence?
like not well. It's like the internet, as we said before, is has influence. The internet, as a consequence of people
But that's
interacting in this.
that's it. But that's people putting things out there onto the internet
Yeah,
that
no,
has
but
the
where are they putting
influence.
it? They're typing it on one keyboard, and somebody else is receiving it on the other keyboard, and this information
Mhm.
lives in the fucking ether. That's what it's like. Nobody can see the Wi-Fi. You see the green light on your fucking router. Nobody's no. You see physical representations of the non-physical. That's what you
But it
see.
is physical. It's on a hard drive
No,
somewhere.
no, it's on our. It's no, it's the information. There is no. language, fucking, or like if you're to write a book, your book's not going to be contained in every single page in fucking like a bit of metal or that. You're not going to have it written physical. It's represented as like non-physical. That's what it is. That's how you're able to receive it. You wouldn't be able to read.
But a book is a physical thing.
Yeah, no, once it's produced, but when you're typing it up on Word or you're fucking like doing all that kind of stuff, like that's non-physical and it's tied into some tiny wee fucking copper wire that you could lose if you fucking like it's tiny. It's this tiny wee it's smaller than a hair. And this has got everything that you've written, thousands of pieces of information, blah blah blah, and you can receive all that from using that to then it gets onto your fucking screen or whatever. This is and the relationship between your screen and that small fucking microchip, if it's like central fucking headquarters in Los Angeles for the internet or wherever the fuck it is, is it's a non-physical. So it's one physical to the next physical, and it's like fucking in the ether, and that's what I mean
I
by
know
that.
it
There's
seems
user
as if it isn't
interfaces
a
with the
physical
laptops.
thing, but it is a physical thing. It's on some kind of hardware, some server somewhere. And though it just seems like electricity, that electricity is changing ones and zeros on a disk somewhere. It might only be atoms tall, but still, it's still physical, even though it's on a very, very micro scale.
No, I
Yeah,
think
and
I
that's the
think it
way the
gets to a
whole lot of the
point.
internet
It's
works.
no, I think it's not. You can't say that the internet is physical. What you can say is that you interact with the internet with physical devices, but the internet as a concept isn't physical. It's like there is nowhere you can go and you find the internet. It's not like that. It's
Mhm.
a collection. It's a fucking a spider's web of mechanisms and equipment and stuff like that that then fucking bring life to this conscious thing. Like that's what it's like. It's like this like that. The notion of the internet on a global scale and its structure and framework and infrastructure and all that kind of thing could potentially in one way be conceived as the neurochemical fucking structures in your brain that produces then the consciousness. The physical flesh of your neurons and all that kind of shit. It produces consciousness,
Mhm.
which is this non-physical thing. That's similar to the buildings and the connections and all that kind of thing of the internet, and then produces that what we then interact with right now. That's honestly it is
But
on
the thing is, the internet was created by somebody.
yeah.
That's the thing.
You're saying that as if you think you've answered something. That's exactly so. But so what you're saying is that's like you go far enough, and you're dealing with something which is
Well,
conscious. That's what I mean. I'm not even saying a being.
you,
It's just there's something that is
yeah.
conscious.
I know what you're saying, but
You know.
you're trying to say that the internet is in some way similar to God. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting. Like the way the internet works is similar to the way God works, right?
I'd say it's a very very loose template that can be
Yeah, it's a good
used to
analogy. It's a
try
good
and
analogy for sure. How
conceptualize
there's
it.
no physical place for it,
Yeah,
but we all collectively make up what the internet is,
yeah, and interact
and
with it, and
this,
I've connected to it.
yeah. So it's similar to the way you would think a god would work, where everybody can interact with it in
Hmm.
some way, and it's not in a specific location. It's
Yeah,
more like an energy that goes around
exactly.
everything.
It's an
But the thing
undercurrent.
is,
But yeah.
the we know the internet was made by somebody. So was God made by somebody?
I think the all I can picture in my mind is that the Mandelbrot set when it just keeps going in and in and in constantly.
Yes.
That's the only thing that pops to my mind. I can't like, and inevitably, if that's what it means, then that's what the answer is. But all I picture is like if you think about like it's just a cyclic continuum at all times. And
Mm-hmm.
inevitably, if that with I think it's just our ability to conceptualize. Like we have to have like, oh, therefore it must have been started. It must have been like I don't know. I'm literally just observing the real time thing. It looks to me like that's what it looks like. It feels like the world is alive, conscious. It
Mm-hmm.
feels like there's that kind of thing, and it feels cyclic. That's why we have winter and
Yeah,
blah
yeah.
blah blah. If you see those things, you see seasons, and I think I'm a firm believer in that alchemical as above, so below. So whatever you see on the microcosm, you'll see represented on a similar structure on the macrocosm, and you see this with like the interactions
Mm-hmm.
of like cells and really small like microorganisms and stuff like that. And then, oops, shit, compared to the fucking like the macrocosm of a universe, there's similar
Mm-hmm.
connections. And it's just that kind of thing, and it's everything's built from the fucking ground up. It's like a continuous geometric fucking machine that's just producing over and over and over. And I think that's the main thing is like this: it's active and it's directional and it feels conscious. That's
Yeah.
the if you was to
Mm-hmm.
rewind back far enough, who the fuck knows what happened? but
That's
this is what
right,
it
man.
feels like
And
now.
that's it. I think that's the key thing, mate. And you said it in there. It's like, I don't know. None of us fucking know
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
You
of
know what I
course.
mean? We just try and figure out the best we can. And
Yeah, I feel like a total. This is
that's
what
what's
it's
the
like. It's like
interesting
I'm a
thing
fucking
about
journeyman walking about trying to absorb. That's what
it.
it's like. It's like, what the fuck is this game we're a
That's
part of? You
right.
try and absorb it and then throw out your
Hmm.
half-assed fucking analogies and metaphors and like could
You know,
probably
so
looks like
far I've figured out this. You know,
yeah.
I think I've figured out this. This is what
It's
makes
like
sense to me so far.
yeah,
You
man.
know,
It's like this is my
it's crazy, isn't it?
interpretation today. It will change in next week, you know.
Hmm.
So it's exactly like that.
And we've got to keep seeking knowledge like that. You know, a lot of people are not able to have a conversation about religion like we just had, and just discuss it and be like, oh, that's just a difference of opinion. Cool, move on. You
Yeah.
know, it's like people are losing that skill, bro, and that's a scary thing because these are fun conversations to have. I think.
Yeah, it's fucking right. It is. It's like you know, it's that it's like intellectual play. That's kind of what it's like. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
fucking about and like, you know, conceptualizing different things and concepts and and like you know, possibilities and it's really interesting. You know, it's the like those kind of conversations are fundamentally creative. You know, that's what they are because everybody's kind of just like trying to seek what's on like the novel response, the novel answer, you know, what's over here, what's over there, that kind of thing. So it's a really creative thing, you know, those kind of conversations. It's good. I think that's why
Hmm.
censorship and and that kind of thing is so damaging because it kind of
Yep.
severs the notion of play. You know, like John Cleese has
Yep.
got this
Just
great
free
fucking
fall. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You know, he's John Cleese's got this great talk that he did in 1991 called Creativity and Management, and I can't remember what he did it for. It was some fucking foundation or something, but it's on for about 45 minutes. Find it on YouTube, and it's brilliant. And he just talks about the notion of play, in the form of inquiry through creative action. You know, that's where you're constantly inquiring about life through like a really novel perspective of what's possible. And I think that's one of the main things about
Hmm.
like engaging in anything that's productive or creative is to you're essentially actively engaged in potential. That's like the actual real concept of potential. And I think that's what's
Hmm.
it's so dangerous to kind of stifle or inhibit somebody because potential is like almost like falling into the universe. Anything's there. It's this other world, you know. So yeah, that's what's fun. You know, it's like dialogue, and it's a form of like done properly, it's a form of artistic fucking expression. Like it's good.
Hmm. But I think, as you said at the start, we just had a lot of practice talking to people, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
mean, I
know.
think sometimes you have to have also like a an interest. I think you have to have like a really inquisitive interest. Like nobody, like unless somebody's completely egocentric. 'Cause I said this on one of the podcasts the other day actually that it's interesting. Any form of willingness to engage in conversation is a move by the ego. Right, that's like because that's the nature of what that is. It's just the ego moves us forward, and then depending on how the conversation goes, will be dictated based on the fucking processes of the superego that it and all that, and the other mechanisms that make up the psyche, inevitably. But it's very ego driven, and I think that's what's quite interesting is that unless you're somebody that has a fucking whacked out ego and all that kind of thing, they just want to hear about themselves. That other alternative is the fact that your ego is drawn to what it doesn't know. You know, so you're chatting to people because you're like, what does this person know? Maybe your ego wants to know
Hmm.
stuff. It's like I want to figure stuff out. What is this place? I want to know this, and that's an ego thing to do that. You know, and I think that's one of the things that I've got most from it is that it can really allow your ego to be regimented and directional. You know, and because you're constantly humbled because everybody knows shit, and you're like, "Fuck, I didn't know that." You know what I mean? You're constantly reminded of what you're not aware of, kind of thing, and that's humbling as fuck. I
Yeah,
really
man.
enjoy that.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's fun. All together, it's fun if it's done with sincerity and pure intentions and
Hmm.
inquiry. Podcasts are really brilliant, and I think that's why there's a fine line between monetizing and then kind of like sacrificing because you've got to kind of get fucking like if there's like corporate interest and that kind of thing because then that culls that creative spark. Like you can't be somebody that's authentically inquiring whilst also trying to market somebody else's thing. You know what I mean? That's a counterpoint. You know, so you see that a lot when you've got like comedians or creatives or musicians that at the beginning they're fucking amazing and authentic and they're producing that kind of shit. Then it's that's everybody's resonating with, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I'm leaning into the fans, and here's an advert from Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? You're like, ah,
Hmm.
fuck, can't be
Hmm.
fucking sold. You know, so there's a fine line between constantly expressing yourself and trying to live. You know, and I think that's also kind of fun to engage in when it comes to these kind of things. You know, it's a real You know what I mean? So it's like all everything is information, and I think that's the main thing that I've taken from everything of talking to people and like creating the movies and stuff like that. It's like everything that we engage in day to day, from like waking up in the morning, from that first feeling of touching your phone to fucking turn the alarm off, the temperature of the room, like the scents in the room, the fucking like the level of light. These are all pieces of information you're storing the moment you regain consciousness. And then it's obviously built up on when you go for interviews or you go to work and you have to deal with that social fucking like soup bowl of fucking information. So I think it's cool to see that it's like I don't know if it's mainly the movie that's done it, but it's like we're all walking around in little individual stories. It's fucking crazy. Like when it's properly conceptualized properly, that's why I struggle. It's like, if I'm being honest, like, it was like, a couple of years ago, I was dropping my son off at school. He was in primary two at the time, and I seen like all the kids are standing, and they're like 28 little kids, and they're all like, it's like 10 to 9 in the morning. We fucking, what would he be, like 8, something like that, year olds, all like, full of energy, jumping about, all that kind of shit, and you're watching them, and this is like 28 little universes. Like they're just
Hmm.
every single one of them is just consumed with themselves, and they're just fucking expressing in tons of different unique little ways, and they're all little they're idiosyncratic, every single one of them. You know what I mean? So I think it's just fascinating. That's what makes me believe that God is there and everything's all fucking cyclic and built up, and it's just this repetition constantly. And like us as humans and every other fucking quote unquote conscious organism is just like a reflection of a bigger form of the same thing, the same consciousness you find in each one of us, you'll find expressed throughout the fucking like metaphysical food chain. That's how it feels.
Mm. Man, the world is a crazy place, man. This human experience, bro, it's crazy. Sometimes it just when you sit down and think about it, like, what the fuck even is this, bro? What is this? What is this consciousness thing we're doing? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, where did it all come from? How did it all begin? All that shit is just fascinating to me. Where is the process of thought? What is it? What is a memory? If you forget something, does your brain get lighter because memory has weight? You know, it's what the fuck even is this shit, man? What even is consciousness? What is existence? What is this human experience that we're having? It's just that it's a crazy concept to even sit there and even begin to contemplate. Definitely takes a few grams of mushrooms to be able to think about it at some kind of open level, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
Mhm.
Oh fuck. No, that's good. So we probably better fucking wrap it up, Mac. Let's get some scran.
Yeah, let's do
Um,
it. Let's do it.
so yeah, like what you got in mind for the future, next couple of weeks, couple of months? What are you thinking for
Fuck
2026?
knows, bro. Fuck knows. Playing Minecraft right now with some of the guys on the forum. One of them started a Minecraft round, so we're doing that. That's in the immediate future.
Right.
Playing chess, me enjoying chess right now. That's the future. But fuck knows, bro. Just gonna keep doing the podcast, keep doing the forum. And just keep enjoying it as that's all you can do. Really, just enjoy the process, enjoy
Yeah.
the human experience. But no massive plans. We got a big update for the forum coming very soon, but
Right.
we don't talk about that yet. It's top secret.
Okay.
But
Can they even
yeah,
throw a wee bit out
fucking
now?
no, don't censor it out. It's all good.
Uh,
I'm only joking. It's just we don't say what there is a forum update coming. We're just not telling you what it is until it arrives. Man, there's some good shit coming for the forum. It's so cool, so cool. But we're waiting. We're waiting. That's coming soon. But just for now, just keep playing on. Might make that show that I mentioned earlier, where we just do some random discussions, non-cannabis related, about random things. That would be fucking super cool. Get callers coming in, doing that kind of shit. But yeah, I don't know, man. No immediate plans. I'm not making any right now. As I said, we're on cruise control right now until regulations change and restrictions get lifted. There's not really much else I can do at this point. You just have to
yeah.
keep going forward.
Yeah. No, you're still smashing it, man. So just, why change what's not broken? You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah,
the
and I'm just having a good time with it as well. Yeah, if it gets too big, does it just get too stressful?
mm,
You know what I mean? Then you feel like you actually have to work at something, and it's like, no, I'm just happy with this. Just smooth, just
yeah.
roll in, level play, not downhill, not uphill, just level. You know what I mean? Got the clutch lifted, a little bit of gas, just cruising. It's beautiful.
That sounds that sounds good. So where could folk find you that's not aware of where your stuff is?
No, well, just if you want to learn how to grow cannabis and get help, we have a cannabis growers forum. Just head over to percysgrowroom.com. Now that's Percy is in PECR. That's not right. PERCY growroom.com. Just make sure you get the Percy bit right. Don't mess it up like I did. But and that's for personal growers only. So if you're a Percy grower, percysgrowroom.com, head over to the forum, sign up, and it's just a great place, man. So many good people there, no dickheads, because they all get banned as soon as you see somebody's a dickhead, they get kicked out. So it's just loads of encouragement, loads of good help when you need it. A place to show off your plants and just be part of the community. So that's the forum. But we also have a podcast. High on Homegrown is the podcast. We've been going for 5 years. Over 1 million downloads, 1.2 million downloads, I think, which is pretty fucking cool. And we have a live show on Sundays on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/high on homegrown. That's the address. Just head there Sunday. If you're in the UK, that's at 6 p.m. UK time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. Pacific. Okay, if you're in the States, it's those times. We discuss cannabis news, and we discuss grow guides, teach people how to grow. Cannabis news goes out on a Monday, interviews go out on a Wednesday, and on Fridays, grow guides go out, which we have a whole series on. Episode 79 has just been released, and that takes you from episode 1 to episode 79, step by step, everything you need to know about growing cannabis at home, like every aspect of it throughout. It's a real good guide, man. So even if you are growing yourself, pass it on to somebody who wants to learn how to grow. It's all free. It's available on all major podcasting networks, like 25 different networks. So if you're getting podcasts from somewhere, you will find our podcast on it. Just search for High on Homegrown and you'll find it. Yeah, and that's it, really. It's that's all the shit. That's all the spiel.
Smashed it, Macky. Well, let's say thanks for coming on the show, man. This has been fun.
Yeah, man, it always is. And don't forget, when you're ready, you come over to our show next week if you want to. Whenever you're free, mate, just give me a shout. We'll get an interview lined up. But especially when the movie's coming, we want to get you on then as well to make sure everybody knows the shit's ready and going out, man.
I appreciate that. I'll definitely give you a shout. And let's say it'll be a few months yet, but
man, whenever, mate, whenever. You're always welcome. So just give me a shout anytime.
No, I appreciate that, man. Nice one. Well, let's say, Macky, this has been banging. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for inviting me, as always. I'll catch you later, Connor.
Nice one. Cheers, man.